final guest speaker this morning is Holly Bero of Holly Bero Interiors, a seasoned expert in interior design who's driven by a passion for creating captivating spaces. Armed with a Bachelor of Arts in Interior Design, Holly believes in the power of education, passion, and hard work to unlock the potential of every project. Holly brings with her 15 years of interior design experience and loves exploring the interaction of luxury and functionality in her designs. Her attention to detail and passion results in beautiful and functional spaces that her clients love. With a significant Instagram following, she'll share the importance of online client engagement for business success. When she is not designing, she loves getting out and enjoying the beautiful Pacific Northwest with her husband and 2 young daughters. So join me in welcoming Holly Bero.
When I was working with the Decor team on what a good topic would be that would bring inspiration and valuable information to this wonderful group of people, we had 2 main ideas that we wanted to focus on. One being style, beauty, and function. What are the trends that we're seeing? How can we really bring today's trends into a beautiful design space? And then how do we connect with clients? How do we use the beautiful work that we do to get that next amazing client? How do we connect and widen our reach? So who am I? Had a lovely introduction, so I'll kind of speed through this, but I've been in the industry for 15 years. 10 of those years, I have had my own business. I have a wonderful team of 5 employees. We're an independent design firm who specialize in residential, primarily residential construction. We're doing new build homes, construction with kitchen remodels, additions, bathrooms, all of that, as well as full furnishings, window treatments. So I say we're the one-stop shop from first one's in, last one's out. Again, I'm a Pacific Northwest native. Not a lot of those these days, a lot of transplants. But I love where I live. I actually have my design studio in my hometown of Puyallup. I will not make you spell that. We're just south of Seattle area. And I love to embrace my natural beauty around me and bring that inside into my designs. Through my years of experience, have really honed in on social media and how to use that to connect with dream clients. How do you share the beautiful work that you do with so many people? And so we'll be talking a little bit about that today. So first up, talking about trends. What are we seeing right now? I know trends can kind of be a dirty word. Not everyone wants to be trendy. Is that going to be out of style? So wanted to keep it a little bit neutral. So today we're talking about natural beauty, color drenching, statement elements, function and storage, and integrated appliances. So first up, natural beauty. We heard this on the panel. This is just going to help go with everything they were talking about. In my opinion, gray was never really in, but glad that it is on its way out. And with that, we are seeing a immersion of natural beauty being brought back into the home. Think beyond the cabinetry when we're doing this. So yes, wood cabinets are great, but we're using it on wall details, paneling, ceilings, trims, doors, and really, again, using that natural beauty to bring warmth into the space, adding a sophistication and character that you can't get from just a plain painted full interior. So when we are thinking about the wood species that we want to bring into a home, I'd say our 3 go-tos right now are white oak, primarily in the rift cut or a quarter sawn application. Alder, we're doing this in a clear. I know naughty alder is for a specific person, not necessarily our person, but a clear alder, it takes stain really well. It has a beautiful warmth to it and a soft grain. And then walnut is a personal favorite. It's just a natural beauty. We also understand that this ain't an 80s kitchen. I'm sure if you do have a client that has come in and they're in on trends and maybe one partner has been like, oh, I really want that wood kitchen. And then the second partner, instant hesitation. Whoa, I had an 80s kitchen growing up. I do not want honey oak. No way. And so it does take some education or some onboarding to let them know that it is a new updated way of using the beautiful natural wood. We are seeing it with that less orange, deeper, more undertone is more of a natural tone and much softer grain patterns. And that's where that wood species really, I think, comes into play. I'd say 3 of our go-to stain options that we like to use, loft being one of our go-tos. Again, it works on a variety of species of wood. We love it on a white oak. It still allows that natural warmth of the wood to come through, but it does have a little bit of a muteness to it. You can take it one step further uptown, again, just softens that undertone even more. And then we're even seeing those darker, rich, like the briar, come into play, where again, you're really enhancing that brown undertone and trying to take out a little bit more of those red or orange, undesirable tones. Again, not everyone wants a full wood kitchen. It can be a hard sell sometimes. So really being able to bring it into a space can be a nice combination. Are you mixing wood with a painted or another material to help create an overall balance? Our personal favorite, we call the throuple. It is a 3-way trifecta. So we start with a white or a neutral base. We add in a contrasting color and make sure that we have a wood dominant balance. Like to do all 3 in equal parts. When you tell people, like, oh, we're 2 tones in, we're like, yep, do a 3. It makes it even better. We think it really adds in that character and uniqueness to the overall design. Next up, color drenching. Color drenching is that head to toe drama. It is picking right now we're seeing this done in a very bold, saturated colors. This can be in those deep earth tones, browns, as well as the greens, blues, and we're even seeing it in the merlots and deep, again, rich colors. So the color drenching is taking it one step further and really fully embracing it throughout the room. So moving beyond just the cabinetry into the trim, the walls, the ceiling, the panelings, the doors, and really allowing it to fully emerge in the whole space. In a kitchen, perhaps it is just doing all of the cabinetry in one bold, saturated color from head to toe. This works well in those smaller, more intimate spaces, really adds that warmth and depth. Might be a little much in a full, big, great room, but rooms that this lends itself nicely to would be a mudroom, laundry room, office, pantry, spaces like that. This is truly the go bold or go home. Statement elements. This is one of my favorites. I love a good statement. You need that wow moment to really help bring a design home. There is such thing as too many. I think you can't have everything be a wow moment. You need to pick and choose what is going to be that statement element within the design. And some of our go-tos, number 1 would probably be a hood. I love a good statement hood. Double islands or unique island configurations. Lighting, countertops. We love to be unique with countertops, waterfall edge, OG edge profiles, mixing materials, varying depths of cabinetries, unique appliances are all ways to create those wow and bold moments in a space. When we're finding that balance of where to have that wow, I think it is really important to understand your client's needs. I think that the best wow moment is one that also has a purpose and has a good function. It's not just, you did it because it's cool. Those are great too. But if you can put the function behind it, it elevates the design, in my opinion, even more. 3 examples up here of client projects where there was a very specific need or request from our client and how we incorporated that into somewhat of a statement element in their home. On the far end, we have a client with a very extensive wine collection. Wine was very important to them. They wanted Entertaining is a big part of how they live, and wanted a way to be able to display and have that kind of talkable moment within their space. What would have been just a fairly standard wall, maybe put a piece of art on it. Instead, we decided to fur that out, build a large niche, did a 10-foot wine display. That's in loft, custom stained a piece, and did a full lit wine display, paired it with a statement bar. I mean, we have a waterfall, mixed metal doors. Again, it becomes that talking moment. It becomes a functional wow moment for our clients. Have a unique island here where, again, talked about those big islands. Someone wanted a big island, sometimes just limited by space as well. They didn't want to give up the eat-in table. They wanted to have both. So we created a custom design where the island then waterfalls and kind of incorporates straight into a banquette that houses a custom table and in a primary suite. So again, a wall that typically would have just been one log cabinet. We wanted to try to gain some linen storage. So those cabinets there are only about 12 inches deep. So we didn't give up too much space on that run of vanity, but we were able to go high. Not too high, but we went high to get more additional storage within this bathroom. We also did some varying depths again to just add some interest on what is typically just a long run of cabinets in a bathroom. So, function and storage. Again, these are all great topics that we've been talking on today. With that, everyone, I'm sure, has met with a client that has a Pinterest page full of ideas. All the gadgets, all the gizmos. And I really think, again, it goes into talking with your client, understanding how they live, how they cook, how they use their space, how they entertain, to help guide them in the direction of what might be the right fit for them, and then being able to incorporate those into their space. We use tons, but here are some of our, I'd say, go-tos. Of course, the spice and utensil pull-out are always a favorite. Garbage centers, coffee stations, especially in the Northwest, are very popular right now. In the bathroom, doing hot tools, corner drawers, makeup accessories as well. So integrated appliance, this is my last kind of touch point here on trends. And I think that they are the hidden heroes of a kitchen. Every kitchen needs them. You can't get around it. And so I really think thinking about the appliance, the placement, the configuration, and the application from the very beginning is so important. I think it can really elevate a design from feeling just like a builder layout to an elevated luxury design. I understand that not everyone has the budget to do fully integrated, the big sub-zeros. But beyond that, thinking of where are you placing these appliances? Are you making suggestions for different applications or colors or finishes that work with the overall design? Right now, we are seeing such a request for areas or just people using those small appliances. So the KitchenAid or the Instapot and the fryer, and using them on a daily basis. This is a way how many busy households run their nightly dinner. And so if we can incorporate that in an area that makes it feel intentional and purposeful within the kitchen design, it's going to make them feel better about using it, feel about having people come in their home. We're doing a lot of even sacrificing maybe some kitchen space to make the pantry larger, doing a lot of working butler pantry styles where pantries are decked out with beautiful cabinetry. They have a designated zone where these small appliances are living, making sure we're planning for the proper electrical needs that they might need in there. Hutches that might be able to store these and be able to close them off when people come over. And of course, we do love a beautiful panel-ready appliance when we can. Dishwashers are definitely our go-to when it comes to that. So, you're nailing it. Now what? You have those projects. You've been producing beautiful kitchens. You know what you're doing. How can you use that to now connect with your ideal client, your dream client. Little statistic that I had at the front that I kind of went over is that right now we are getting about 45% of our new business clientele is coming from Instagram. Those are clients that are reaching out to us that have been following us for typically a significant amount of time. They've been engaging, and when we meet them, I have to say, they are our dream clients. They are clients who I get the comment of, I'm so excited to meet you. I have been waiting for this day. I'm so glad that you're here. You've already broken down that wall. There's not that introduction or that guessing game. I mean, we still do our vetting, believe me. We need to make sure that they're the right client for us. But it has broken down that wall and barrier of that first introduction. That trust that comes with that is so significant. When you aren't having to, make those points of that you are, have been in the industry and all these things, that they just come at that level of trust with those clients because they know they love what you do. They know that you are an expert in what you do and that you have been producing beautiful work, and they want a piece of it. They want in on what you're creating. So what are some key elements to create these dream clients? So defining your brand voice. Optimize your profile. Consistency is key. Engage with your audience. And collaborate and build community. I will say really quick, I do have a QR code at the end that I see some people writing down notes. There's a QR code. You can enter your email address, and all of these notes and presentation can get sent to you, so you have it. So we're about to get to some good stuff. Awesome. So defining your brand voice. This can be easy, or it can be something that I think can create a real roadblock for people. Instagram is an amazing tool, and being able to leverage that to be able to connect with those clients is something that you need to really think about with every time you put yourself out there. It is a way to really become that voice and connect with your community. So creating a niche of what you share. I always think that it's very nice to have a very clear, defined voice when someone comes and is trying to look for you. And so that comes with being choosy about the content that you post. That does not mean don't take every project by any means. I understand that we don't all have the luxury to just take any project that we want. We have plenty of projects that we don't deem Instagram worthy. But we can choose what we post. We can choose what we put out there. And with every post that we do, our rule of thumb is, does this speak to our dream client? Is this going to connect with the next person that I want to walk through the door? And if it doesn't align with that, if it is, a color palette that you don't do, a style that you don't do, a budget that you don't want to do, then don't post it. You have that control. And so really trying to start to curate what you're putting out there to make sure that it is speaking to that ideal next client. And always be building your content. This can be one of those things that can start to feel like, what am I doing? Feels cheesy sometimes, but always be building that content. Take those before photos so that you can do a before and after. Be thinking ahead of how can this help me really speak to somebody. Beautiful photos are great, but sometimes showing what it came from can be the most impactful. And share your knowledge. We heard a lot about this on the panel. That is what can set you apart from everybody else. We are all experts in our industry. So share that. Let people know that what you do is what you do. So don't be afraid to talk about that. And share those things that inspire you, new products that you're seeing. It becomes a way that you're learning, you're educating yourself, you're becoming better, and you have something to bring to the table when you meet with them. So optimizing your profile. You only get one first impression. Found a study that said on social media, you get about 3 seconds. 3 seconds is how long someone typically comes and decides whether or not you're a right fit for them. So making sure that you are putting that information in front of them in a very clear, concise way is very important. So we're talking about Instagram. It's my favorite, but this kind of relates throughout different platforms. But that first line is your first impression. This should be the who and the what. What is your name? Is it your business name? Is it your personal name? Is this a personal page for you as a designer? And it should have some keywords that are very clear. This is searchable in the Instagram SEO. If someone is going to that search bar and is looking for interior design, kitchen designer, kitchen remodel, these are things that will help funnel you to be in front of them. So make it nice, clear, and to the point. I like to say don't use fluff or industry-specific terms. You need to really think of this through the lens of a client. What would they be searching for? What are words that they know? And how does that really resonate with them? So clear, searchable, the who, the what. The next, the body portion of this, should be brief and to the point. My pet peeve is that this should only be 3 lines. You have the option to do more. If you have more, you're making people work too hard. If they have to push the more, especially if that more has a very crucial element, like your location. If you are very location specific, if that's on that 4th or 5th line, you're missing a huge opportunity. If that should really be able to grab them in 3 bullet points, what you do, how you do it, and where you do it. And then the last kind of piece that is on here is how do they contact you? I like to have one link. Same thing. If it says click for more links and they have to go somewhere else and figure it out, again, you're redirecting them away from your site. Again, people, they get distracted. They get a text. They go somewhere else. They don't come back. And now you just lost that opportunity to really grow and harness that relationship. So having one link, I also like this link to be a direct link to your website. So try not to have it to a website that takes them somewhere else. I mean, if you are a part of something or have a blog that you've been featured on, I still really like that to go to your specific website, and then maybe you have a link that takes them on through there, but really gaining that they're coming to you. Don't make them go somewhere else. They might not come back. Consistency is key. This can be the hard part, right? Who wants to do it? It's more work. It's something else to add to your already busy plate. And I understand. And so trying to make it easy is to always be thinking about what you can share and creating a long-term strategy, because it doesn't happen overnight. I have been grinding at Instagram for at least 7 years. It doesn't happen overnight, but I have built some amazing relationships and connections because of that. So it's worth it, in my opinion. So I try to aim to post 4 times a week, which can seem like a lot. I do everything myself. I do everything in-house. We don't hire anything out. It is possible. You can do it. But 4 posts a week to me is not posting 4 times. I want to show up to my community at least 4 times a week. So that could be a casual story. That could be a post. It could be a reel, a carousel, something that is refreshing and putting me up in front of them. Really, again, showing up that you're there for them. Asking for engagement. If you don't ask, you won't get it. And that is really where the key is to start building those relationships. So ask your followers, what do they want to see? Are they in the middle or beginning stages of a kitchen remodel? Are they interested in tools and tips and function? So it is a great way to help curate what you can start showing and what you can bring to your new potential clients. If you ask, they will most likely answer you. We love to do this by polls or questions in the stories. You can do a poll box or a question box, a Q&A. It really, again, starts to get that connection. We've had multiple that started as a question box, started building a chat back and forth, moved it over to email because it's easier to manage. Move them over to email, start that relationship, book that consultation, dream client. We started that relationship from being there, being responsive, and starting that beginning conversation. I also like to say, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think this is one thing that, especially as designers, we're always trying to produce new, brand new, never done before, even for ourselves. You know, we don't want to use that tile again. I've already used it. Wanting to always creating new content, and it can be exhausting. But if we go back to that 3-second rule, same applies for as people scroll. I'm sure you've all done it. You scroll like this. You go, maybe you get a double tap, maybe you get a like, maybe you get a comment. But on the most part, people are using this as either a source of quick inspiration or something to just pass some time. They're not dwelling over, what did she say? What was that caption? What was that, specific element? And so allowing yourself to recycle your content will make it easier. I like to recycle about every 3 to 6 months. We will repost content. It's already created. And perhaps, I like to go back and see what did well, what got engagement, what were those people commenting. So I might update the caption a little bit. Oh, a lot of people were asking this question. So let's rephrase that to make it fresh, more relevant, answer the question that was being asked and driven in those previous conversations. And so this really just allows you to refresh your content without having to feel like you're always starting over and starting from scratch. So a few of our, I'd say, in the pocket type of posts that we like to do. One of our kind of fan favorites would be our Flat Lay Fridays. So every Friday, without a doubt, whether I recycle it or do it brand new, is I do a flat lay. I do these not fancy at all. They are on a table. We lay them out. They take a few minutes to put together and film. They're usually current projects that we're working on. Sometimes we just go pick pretty things to show ideas, give examples. But most often we love to do them on current projects that are either under construction, because then we can hype that up, right? Here's a project that we're working on. Look at this beautiful design. I can't wait to show you what's coming. And so these ones here are just a simple interaction that are laying those out. We post this every Friday. It becomes a really popular fan favorite. They get lots of comments. They get lots of interaction and engagement. And again, it helps us build for future content that we can create down the line. The next one is you have that beautiful final photos, just showing it in a carousel that kind of goes through. Again, this takes moments to put together and put it to a trendy audio, a pretty sound. You have that. And then our last one that always amazes us, that they do so well, are the on the fly, last minute. We're on the job site. That's my lead designer, Shelby. She's getting ready to go to softball practice and was in her softball gear. And we said, you know what? Let's just film this store. It's really, really cool. Had a lot of work went into it to make it look that hidden. So let's do it. It took about 10 seconds to film. No filter, no anything. Put it out there. And I think it got like 2 million views. So it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be all the pretty stuff. People like the pretty stuff, sure, but they also like the behind the scenes. So really showing a little bit of everything. I think that shows what you can do, how you do it. Stories is a great way to really show that you are out on that field. You're doing that measure. You are hands-on. You're going to be there for that entire process and walk them through it. Okay, so engage with your audience. Okay, I'm running out of time. I got to get going here. I can talk a lot. Sorry. So engage with your audience. You have those followers. How do you do that? I'm sure we've all heard of a call to action. A call to action, in my opinion, is so important. You might be like, well, what is a call to action? How do I do that? It's simple. Ask them a question. Ask them to do something. Ask them for the comment. If you ask for that comment, you're more likely to do it. If you post a pretty picture and put 3 emojis on it, they're more likely to just keep going. You haven't asked them to engage. So it is that simple. Ask to engage. I'm more likely to comment if I hear someone say, like, what do you think of this color? Have you ever seen this gadget before? If we're putting it in a way that is really engaging with our community, we are more likely to get that connection back. So kind of went over this. Some of our key questions that we sometimes like to ask is, if it's a kitchen, you're showing a unique maybe pull out. What are you struggling with in your kitchen? Do you have, what is the one thing you couldn't live without? Are you team tub or shower? But again, it is starting to build that relationship and grow with your audience. And I always like to say, if you're not excited about it, why should they be? If you're not going to say how awesome your design is, that's okay. You can say, look at this cool kitchen that we did. Look at this amazing pantry. Don't you wish you had a pantry like this? What would you store in here? What's your favorite wine? What would you put on this wine wall? Start to build that connection. And last, and I think that, again, this is a huge part, is the collaboration and community. So it takes a village. We know that. We're here at someone that helps us create beautiful kitchens, but it is also about the builders, the contractors, the additional designers, photographers, videographers, your local reps, your manufacturers. And really, that's why I'm here today. You start building those relationships. Instagram is a great place to really connect. And if you're not using it to connect with people, then you are really missing out. Also, hashtags aren't really doing their thing anymore. You don't really need to do them. They're fun. They say maybe about 5 to 7 is all you need. But really, to help widen your kind of reach is by taking those people. If you take someone and they repost it or they reshare that, you are now showing up in front of all of their community. And that is as good as a referral. Because if they are following that manufacturer or that builder or that company and they trust them and they are now representing you and sharing you as another leader in the industry, that is a wonderful source of a referral. How you get in front of more people, how you can connect and start building those relationships. I also think that it is important to constantly connect. Don't feel, I'm not one of those people who don't follow people. I do something on Sundays called Sunday Shares. I like to try to follow anywhere from 5 to 10 new accounts every week to be inspired personally myself, but also to find new trends, new products, new ideas, and interact. I have made connections with wonderful manufacturers, custom artists, and artisans that have helped build and produce wonderful things within our designs. I have made friends all over the world that started just by a simple interaction that we meet at market or we meet at a trade show. And it also gives you something to share those questions. Like, you just did that amazing plaster hood. How did you do that? Where did you start? And so I think it is a valuable way to start building your own community and connection to help yourself level up as well. So I'm officially over time, not by much though. So if you do want to scan this, you can then download. Also included a little freebie, our kitchen questionnaire. We start every project with a questionnaire that we send to our clients and make them fill out. that asks some very detailed questions, in our opinion, that really help to build that relationship. It helps us hone in on maybe what should be the statement piece or that wow moment, or how are they using their space. And again, you can get this whole deck as well.
Thank you, Holly. All right. You have been thought-provoking. There have been questions that come in. So
Wonderful. I love to talk. Let's keep talking.
let's go. So first one, what are the backsplash trends you are seeing? Are you seeing more tile coming back as opposed to full quartz backsplashes?
So I love a good tile. I love natural stone. I'd say, we talked about the countertops. Porcelain has been a really nice application that we've started using as a backsplash. Someone who wants that full height look on a backsplash. I think porcelain works great for there. We're not doing a ton of it personally as countertops. I haven't done it at all, but we use it as the backsplash a lot. And I think that, again, we mix and match. Maybe it is that statement slab behind the range and a tile in, the butler's pantry or in the coffee bar station. So yes and yes, both.
Okay, there you go. Wondering what your ideal go-to integrated appliance brand or brands for the most flush and clean look with clear specifications.
Yes. So this can be tricky. Alan's looking at me. He's my cabinet guy. So they're not always easy, are they? Sub-Zero, but it comes at a price. Not everyone has that. I think troubleshooting ahead of time is so important. Really looking at the specifications. How can you make sure that you are modifying it correctly to fit the way that you want it to? Because if you're not planning that ahead, then yes, you are trying to troubleshoot or have those errors come up that now it isn't flush and that wasn't the expectation that you had. So really understanding what appliances can fit the specific need that you are looking for. Dishwashers, I think that one's pretty easy. We do Bosch is probably our go-to. Bosch or the Thermador, their family company, works good for that. But Sub-Zero,
okay,
probably the best.
Thank you. You mentioned 45% of leads are through Instagram. What is the percentage of men versus women?
Ooh. So, and our little, you can go and check your insights and see where your people are from, what their age range is, their gender. I think our percentage of followers, just as a whole, that are men, is on the lower side. I want to say it's at the 10% is men. But surprisingly, we will still get, we have a client right now, so we're Seattle based. It was the husband who reached out through Instagram. It's a Kansas project. We're doing a new build project in Kansas. So that's the other thing. We now do projects all over because we're getting in front of those clients. So it's really opened that door. But so I wouldn't say it's not unheard of. I really think that it takes the right client that is looking and looking for the specific person, and that you're setting yourself up to speak to those people. It's possible for any person to find you.
Okay. What does the timeline look like for building your Insta following? How many followers, year 1, year 3, year 5?
Yeah. So like I said, I've had Instagram since I started my business. So 10 years. That was back when it was the little square and the really cringy filters, and you put borders on them and so artistic. But I'd say I really honed in and started seeing the type of clients we were getting from Instagram probably about 3 years ago. At that point, we probably had 4,000 followers. So at that point, let's say I'd been doing this for 6 years. 6 years, I'd only gotten to 4,000 followers. I was not consistent. I was not, hadn't defined my brand. I was not showing up. And so I'd say the last 4 to 3, and to even like this last 2, it's been like full force. Like, let's really make this a priority. I only hit 10,000 followers a year ago. So it took 9 years to get to 10,000 followers. In the last little over a year, I've gained over 50. So it is about that consistency. I think that when you do start showing up, producing the content and connecting, it will start to fall into place.
Good. Do you ever get discouraged if you ask a question on social media and no one answers?
Have your mom answer. It is a requirement that everyone on my team must enter a question when I put a question box out there. I will enter one myself if I have to. So yes, it can be discouraging. And sometimes you think you're going to get more and you don't. So I think sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader. Sometimes you have to train people to do it also, if that makes sense. If they're not used to engaging with you, it will take a transition period for them to learn that, one, you want engagement, that you're going to engage back, that you want to have a relationship with them. So I think you have to really, you can't just do it once and get discouraged and never do it again. That fully defeats the purpose. So even if you are having, your partner or your friend write in a question, you can tell them exactly what you want it to be, to start showing that, look, I'm going to answer these. I'm going to then post a photo that maybe answers that design question. But really start to build that relationship, and more will start to come.
So how many hours a week would you estimate you spend on Instagram?
Some days it's none. Some days I am out in the field or I'm going crazy and I have hardly any time, or it's when I finally get home and sit down and I'm like, okay, let's answer some questions. Let's try to do something. I'd say on average, maybe about an hour a day, broken up into smaller periods, broken throughout the day. I'm not supposed to do this, but it is usually one of the first things I check in the morning. I'm sure we all do. I do like to check, is there anything that I can try to get back to really quick before I just kind of go and start my day? And then I typically kind of before lunch, we'll kind of say, okay, so maybe I have a post ready or I have an idea for a post. I'll kind of curate that and put it together, put it out there. Like to try to do it where I know that I'll have some time to engage if questions do come in. And then I can follow that up with, then I can share it to my stories. And maybe I build on that, kind of, hype it up. So I don't like to do it too late in the day or right before I know I'm like stepping into an appointment or a meeting. Making sure that I have a little block of time that I know I can kind of like, really watch it if it needs some assistance. So.
Okay. Earlier in the presentation, you spoke of vetting your clients too. Not every client's your client. What does that look like? How do you do that?
We have a fairly in-depth onboarding process. So we try to direct everyone to our website. On our website, we have kind of that basic inquiry form where we're asking people to put in things like their timeline, their budget, what their goals and accomplishments are. We want them to have an inspiration, whether that be Pinterest, House, and Instagram, that they can put in there, so that we can see, if they send, red isn't my favorite color. If someone shows and they have a kitchen or, reds is a dominant palette for them, we're going to have some deeper conversations of what they're talking about. So step one is we have them fill out an inquiry form. From there, we set up we send an email. An email kind of, don't need that anyways. Email goes directly out to them. We have that set up, it's automated. It goes through kind of those next steps. So next steps is we would love to set up a complimentary phone call with you, that we would love to dive into what your project goals, needs, and timeline are. We'll give them some options for when that call can happen, that they can book it right then and there. We also let them know that after that phone call, we would like to schedule an in-home consultation. We charge for our in-home consultation. So we put right in there what that fee would be, So if someone is trying to just get some free information from us, we might never hear from them again. So I think it kind of helps set those expectations like right up front. So then they book that phone call. The phone call is about 45 minutes. It's with our operations director. She has a slew of questions that we go over and ask them to really find out what their project goals are, make sure that we're aligning, that they're a good fit for us, we're a good fit for them. And then from there, we would book a consultation where we're going out to their home. That consultation is usually, depending on the size of the project, 2 to 3 hours where we're in the home with them. So we send them our kitchen questionnaire. We have a bathroom questionnaire. We have a full home, a new build questionnaire. We have a questionnaire for everything. We make them fill out. We want them to do as much work as we are. If they're not willing to do the work, they're probably not our ideal client, because we want to create beautiful, wonderful spaces. So that's a little bit of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So many great takeaways. Thank you, Holly, for sharing those with us. Thank you.